There's a lot of incredible content on the internet around the iPhone 15 Pro, Apple Log, ProRes, and how powerful this whole thing is working together. But today I want to answer one simple question. Do we finally have a cinema camera in our pockets that's as easy to operate as a point and shoot?
The man, the myth, the legend, Brandon Goodyear. Sunshine.
To answer this question, I took just my iPhone, the Blackmagic camera app, and a recent LUT that I bought to put it to the test and see, can we finally get point and shoot speed, but with a relatively higher quality cinema, not that stereotypical phone footage on the go.
For your safety, remain seated with the doors closed, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside while the tram is moving, and supervise your children.
Of course, there's always my way.
Now, I have to say, one of the most impressive things that blew me away pretty much in real time, shooting with the Blackmagic camera app and applying a LUT in real time to that footage, was just how much this didn't look like I was shooting on a phone. We're so used to the, pulled back highlights, boosted shadows, over HDR, tone mapping, all the crazy nonsense that goes into phone footage, over sharpening, the like. Using everything in the Blackmagic camera app, I got that speed and efficiency of being able to shoot in full auto mode. Just tap to lock your exposure and focus and white balance, and that's it. I wasn't messing around with shutter speeds or ISO or frame rates or any of that stuff. I was literally treating this as if it was a point and shoot camera on fully auto mode. Because for me, the biggest question I wanted to answer is, could I get phone footage that doesn't look like phone footage? And, to say that we're going to be matching cinema quality with, perfect shutter angle and all that other stuff, that's not for this video. That'll be something else we do at a completely other time and figure out what that minimum viable product is that you can create with a phone without having to go for a fully mounted, cage system. But for today, we're just focusing on being able to create as fast as humanly possible and document those moments. This is for the busy parent on the go that's just trying to get better video of their child versus trying to actually make a full-blown production commercial, which technically you can do with this. Apple's proved it, And there are hundreds of other YouTubers in the world that have also proved the incredible results you can get simply from an iPhone. Now, while the majority of these shots are going to be in pretty great lighting scenarios in terms of being perfectly bright, relatively easy to expose, not too challenging in dynamic range, I think that, pretty much phones have done a good job up to this point capturing those scenarios. Now, where this really started to blow me away was when the lighting started to get not optimal. Now, the biggest tell when you get into great lighting scenarios with an iPhone specifically is the HDR will just go crazy. It'll try and pull down those highlights as much as possible, but if you tap into the shadows to try and bring some of that back, everything just gets blown out like crazy. But because the Blackmagic app is using a LUT on top of their Apple log profile, you're already getting that maximum, 12 stops dynamic range that the camera is capturing. Side note, however it does that, I'm still not able to wrap my brain around how Apple is able to get so much out of that teeny tiny little sensor. That's a side note, but we'll figure that one out later. But because you're applying a LUT on top of that 12, 14 stops, whatever it is that it gets, it's impressive amount of dynamic range, you're able to better capture and retain those highlights while also still getting a reasonably exposed shadow in your image, and even baking that LUT into the file, which is what I was doing for this whole trip. You're able to come away with basically point and shoot speed, but with clips that are basically ready to go as soon as you're done recording. I was sending stuff around to friends just blown away with how good it looked just straight on the phone. Now, the true tell of all this is whenever I got everything back to my computer, because I knew that there was only so much I could judge watching it on a phone. And this is where I will say, I think that even to this day, now as cool as Apple Log is, I used my iPhone for this video here to actually shoot a lot of the B-roll in that video. One, just as a proof of concept, but two, I really wanted to see how far I could push it, because I've seen Apple Log get used in both ideal situations, less than ideal situations, but let's be honest, let's call them still ideal situations. Shooting in a city at night is not as dark as people think it is, but shooting in a lit basement office setup isn't exactly going to be as well lit as you would think it would be. In my case, behind the scenes for my last video. As with pretty much every single mirrorless camera, the iPhone is doing a lot of internal noise reduction to be able to clean up the noise from this super tiny sensor. And I will say, whatever they're doing is absolutely magical, because I shot a number of shots inside of rides at Disney, and one of the things that blew my mind, granted watching it off small phone screen, was how clean everything looked. Now, assuming that the majority of phone footage is also going to be consumed on a phone, and very rarely might it get, blown up to the size of a 32-inch monitor or a 50 or 60 or 70-inch TV, you're going to be able to get away with quite a bit with this phone just straight out of the box. And then if you factor in, you throw it through something like Neat Video or DaVinci Resolve's noise reduction, that's pretty legendary as far as I'm concerned, you're actually going to be able to get some pretty usable low light shots with these cameras. And I don't know, I think I'm pretty impressed that very rarely have I shot with a camera where you can max out the ISO and actually be able to utilize that and not in some sort of characterized way. Even my FX3, if I'm going to shoot that at 409,000 ISO, good luck, it's going to be Swiss cheese most of the time. But with the iPhone, it maxes out at 6400 ISO on a tiny little sensor. You're actually getting some pretty usable shots, all things considered. Okay, to wrap this all up and put a nice little bow on it, one of the things that absolutely blew my mind, and a lot of this has to come with the improvement of being able to use Apple Log in camera and apply your own LUT after the fact, you're basically removing all of the tone mapping and post processing that Apple's going to do to that image and able to apply your own look and style to this footage. Now, what this does in real practical use sense is it allows you to basically have footage that doesn't have that typical dead giveaway iPhone footage. And for me as a filmmaker, that's huge because it means that on any given day, if I'm out somewhere and I'm, need to capture a sunset to put in a film, or I need to catch a couple pickup shots, I don't have to worry, oh, I'm going to shoot this on my phone, but it's, going to take a ton of work in post, or it's going to be very obvious that this was an iPhone shot. I can, with confidence, cut that into the rest of my film and know that it's going to go great. And as a family vacation documentation device, this just solidifies why people buy iPhones, and especially for like all the video features. Now, don't get me wrong, Pixel does phenomenal stuff with their cameras and photos. Samsung, I'm a tech person at heart, so if I had the opportunity to play around with all these, I wouldn't heartbeat. But it's undeniable that at this point, Apple's pretty much running away with the video market. And with the introduction of ProRes and Apple Log this year, and then shortly after that phone release, Blackmagic coming out with their custom app and all the features that it has available to filmmakers, it's kind of making Apple the obvious choice for people in this world. Okay, well, this is a quick video today, but I hope you enjoyed it. And I know that I really enjoyed getting to shoot everything. Was having a lot of fun just getting to very quickly grab clips on my phone. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to put together, and I really enjoyed getting to shoot with my iPhone on this quick little vacation. So until next time, I will see you guys in the next video.